I've got all kinds of people working on things downstairs again. So I had to move. This is the new backdrop for today.
I love it. I was just saying it's really lovely and the lighting looks fantastic, but I love it. Oh, your lovely sofa cushions. Yeah. It looks really good. And if you fall asleep, if you get too relaxed and fall asleep, I'll poke you down the camera. So mind you, it's early for you here because the clocks have changed. It's dark really early and suddenly we've got really cold weather, which I found hysterical since it's all the climate change conference.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah.
I think it's really funny. It's all about global warming. It's freezing here. So, but anyway, lots of questions to ask today, lots of different subjects from lots of people. I must say the general mood seems to be quite low and fearful from what I'm getting through, and I can see why, I can see why, but let's hope we'll cheer everyone up with the questions and everything. So the first one, so I haven't asked at all about Iceland before. I don't know if you've done anything about Iceland.
No.
But basically one of the reasons about Iceland is they've been pushing this really, really hard, and it's meant to be one of the highest rates globally. So the first question is, why have they been pushing it so hard there? And a naughty little add-on, are the deep state still in control, or are the white hats in the picture?
No, that looks like a good guy place. And this is interesting because we've got this Page of Pentacles. So Page of Pentacles is all kinds of innuendos and gossip. So gossip and innuendos. So we might want to talk to people from Iceland just to see, really, are the numbers sounding right to you? Like what's being put out in the mainstream might be really different than if you lived there. So I'd love to hear from some Icelandic people, okay, because this is it's a really big, there's a whole lot of off-worlder activity in Iceland, and it's a really big, going to be a place where they have a lot of the justice courts. So I feel like they're gearing up to, they probably have a really big facility there, similar to the spa south of Florida.
That would make sense.
Yeah, we've been told they did. I feel like it was slow to get really cleaned out of people, but I feel they're cleaned out more or less, or they've got it under control anyway with that card there. But I feel like there might be some obviously underground activity still going on. I think these guys are going to be hard to really get rid of entirely off the earth plane. They're little minions, but it doesn't look like it's being operated by bad guys anymore. And it's a focus for where a lot of tribunals are going to happen, it looks like, because we've got this, I think some big trials are going to happen there.
Wow, because they were saying at the moment, I had two people right there, and they were saying that it's very much driven by MSM at the moment, and people seem to be falling it. But apparently there seem to be a lot of problems with people, severe side effects with people that have had this, which have been noticed by the general public. So that's really, really good then for Iceland, and probably explains why they've been pushing it so hard there, if they've got all that activity that's going to be going on. Yeah, delaying it.
There might be a big wake-up program going on there too, similar to what's going on in Australia and New Zealand.
We'll come on to that in a minute. Oh my goodness. Well, let's come on to New Zealand then. In New Zealand, I saw something that made me really smile, where Jacinda had to be removed from a press conference because of anti-you-know-whatters, and apparently there are only two of them. So can we ask about what is happening with Jacinda, and can she be taken off planet very soon? Can we get rid of her quickly?
She's a piece of work.
Oh my gosh. And you know, I was completely fooled by her at the beginning, Janine.
Really?
Yeah, but not at the beginning of this pandemic, but at the beginning when she first got into power, because she supposedly had her baby and she was saying all the right things. And I was thinking, oh, how wonderful she seems. Little did I know.
Okay. Past, present. And Nine of Cups and the Page. Okay, they've got a really big focus on something that's going to make a lot of people really happy in New Zealand. Very much like they're having a hard time really pulling these bad guys out with that death card. So the death card's hanging on for dear life to a dying something that's dying, and it won't ever be the same again. But all the cards around it say they've been working super hard on, so they've put her to work. So all these ludicrous things that are coming out her mouth, I feel like are to expose, yeah, it's a strategy to expose the agendas. So to give you the worst case scenario of what these guys are capable of. So that's why she looks so absurd. Okay, so they're making her do it. She definitely doesn't like it.
Good.
Yeah, and I think I wonder if we look closely if she'd have an ankle bracelet or something. It's going to end soon, though, you guys. I really feel like a lot of things end this month around this kind of agendas. That seems to be the plan, that this all gets ending. You know,
Good.
I mean,
we've
been hoping that happened.
They've been having a really tough time of it in New Zealand. Now, on to some really good news that I just saw just before we came on. I saw that the little missing girl in Australia, Cleo, has been found alive, kidnapped in a house. Now, I won't say alive and well because we don't know what she's been through there, but she certainly looked in, you know, she was in a good physical state when the police rescued her. So can we ask the cards whether, is this significant obviously it's very significant and brilliant news that she's alive and she was sort of smiling in the photo and things. That's amazing news. But is it going to lead to some sort of disclosure, or is it just a random sort of nutter?
Weird. I don't think she ever got taken. I think that was a big story. It feels like it has something to do with a cover up for something else, or to make something appear a certain way. I wonder if they're trying to make the police look good, or have a look good story for the cops.
Oh, yes.
I wonder if, I don't think she was taken anywhere. I think this is a ruse. I think these guys are being fooled. And that's, wow, really unfortunate, but they do it all the time, and been doing it, you know. We've seen so many incidences. Now we have to look back at almost everything that makes the mainstream media, that really makes a big play in the mainstream media, and really think, what the heck, what are they pulling here? Because this looks like she's been safe all along. She wasn't in that house. She was taken somewhere else by a family member and hidden. So on purpose, they're in on it. They're in on the family. They talked this family into doing this.
Wow.
I wonder if we look into the background of some of the family members, if we've got some actors, people look into it. Who's the family background? Do some snooping around. That girl was never taken anywhere from what I'm getting.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it would make sense, actually, because it would make everyone really be very, very grateful and look at, because obviously the police in Australia have had such a terrible press. Then this would give them something completely different that they've found.
Maybe all of a sudden, you know, they get some good press because they've been getting nonstop bad press. Who knows what they're real, but that was an agenda for sure. They're trying to accomplish something with it.
Wow. Okay, well, at least she's alive and well anyway, thank goodness. Wow. Okay. Oh, this is amazing already, Janine. Okay, the next one is about Julian Assange. So there's so much controversy, obviously, about Julian Assange, where he is really, what he is. But Mel K did an interview a week or so ago with a really renowned journalist, and he was saying he's pretty sure that Julian Assange is dead, that he died when he was in the embassy in London. So could we ask the cards whether he is still on this earth plane or not? Basically, he was saying that he was assassinated.
No, I get he was taken somewhere safe. I don't get he was assassinated. I think they want that story out because this was upside down and this was underneath it. So they want you to believe, they want you to think that's true. Okay, but he's actually with, there's a whole family of people around him, or a supportive group around him. And I think he was taken to safety. I think the bad guys were after him. And so I think he was being sought out to be taken out.
But they saved him. Oh, thank goodness for that, because that was really upsetting to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. I get he's got supportive people around him. And he's taken somewhere really in deep hiding and safe.
That's amazing, because he's got so many stories to tell, and his information is going to be absolutely invaluable, isn't it? I mean, it has already been, but it's going to be even more. Now, the next one, I don't know if you've done anything on this week, so stop me if you have, but have you done anything else this week about the La Palma volcano and tsunami?
No, maybe a really quick look, but no.
Yeah. So basically, I've got some questions from people in Portugal, because apparently Portugal and some other places, this was a particular question from someone who's going to Portugal, is even if there's a lesser tsunami, that would be right in the firing line and we'd be hit really badly. So can we ask about the La Palma and whether places like Portugal are in danger?
Looks like there's a tug of war on it. Both sides are working. One's working to undo some of the damage. The other one's working to, that card's like going both ways. So they both got a hand in manipulating it, you know, which seems incredible.
Yeah.
And that's why everything's even sped up around it. It probably wouldn't have even blown.
Yeah.
But wasn't for manipulation, and certainly not been nearly as dramatic at this point is what it looks like, because it was made, everything was sped up, it looks like, but then that's all been, some of that's been stepped back by some other efforts. So that's interesting. Okay, so we've got, what are the dangers of, well, Portugal does look like, you're right that there's something physical that could happen there. It's unknown in time, like it's still a work in progress. There's a whole bunch of unknowns here, depending on who's winning this little tug of war.
Yeah.
And I feel like we got about a half and half. So there's danger elements here for sure. And it could be a problem, absolutely. But I feel like it could also get totally put on the
not in the clear. Yeah. Did you see that video that was doing the rounds everywhere? I'm sure you saw it, where they had the grid system where they were showing. Now, can we just ask about that video? Because that looked too ridiculous to me. It looked too perfect.
Yeah, I did a big reading on that.
Oh, did you? Okay. Well,
it was absolutely manipulated.
Yeah. Because I looked at that video and I thought, oh, come on, there's no way it could be that perfect a grid. It was ridiculous, you know.
No, it's been manipulated on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. The next question is about Russia. Now, obviously, the Russians are conspicuous by their absence from the COP conference at the moment. Can we ask where there's very odd things going on in Russia to do with this and certain target bits of the population. So there's really weird stories coming out of Russia. Again, if anyone's from Russia, please let us know what's really going on. So can we just ask a general question at the moment? Is Russia at the moment on the side of, I know that they're not necessarily in with the white hats, but are they supporting the good side or the bad side? So it seems very odd what's going on at the moment.
Wow. Okay. This is interesting. So they were on the good side, supporting, and then something happened, and it feels like they got infiltrated. Some kind of infiltration, I think, and maybe even took out some people, creating a small group really at the top, secretly on the bad side. So it's doing damage.
Yeah.
And they're spending government money. And yeah, so that's they're trying to handle it.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's that's a zone right now that feels like it's almost like a war zone.
Yeah.
Where a battle is being fought right now. Wow.
So complex, all this, isn't it? I mean, it really is amazing how complex it is. It's so not clear cut, is it, in terms of like, once that's done, that's it, and it's good forever. There's still not giving up the fight, are they?
Yeah.
Stretch the imagination. And you wouldn't do, would you? You know,
well, these guys spent thousands of years doing what they did in place. There's probably people working on their side that you wouldn't even guess in a million years because of what, somebody's got on them or whatever.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Probably easy to turn people, right? Also, they've got that programming. So they've got people placed who are programmed who might not even know it.
Yeah. So
now they kind of turn them on, and they do the bidding of the dark, even though nobody knew they were on that side. So I think it's something like that's happening there.
It's really interesting. Whenever you do the card readings, I always start to yawn, and it's not because I'm bored. You know what yawning's like, a release, like releasing all that energy and all that stress. It's quite funny. I notice that every week, it's like with animals when they yawn, it's really releasing all their stress out, and I start doing it. So if I'm yawning, everyone, I'm not bored or tired.
Oh yeah, all readers have that experience that I know. Like Ashley and I talk about it. It's like a weird energy that happens when you're channeling.
It does, doesn't it?
I'm sure if you stopped some of my videos, you'd catch me yawning. Not like Guy probably saves me, but on live chats and stuff, I'll be like trying to stop a yawn.
Yeah, no, it is funny. I felt myself doing it then, and it's very similar to what I do when I'm doing the animal communication, and it's like all this coming out because there's always surprises that come out. It's amazing. So
totally.
Barclays Bank, we have just had the top guy who's resigned because of his connections with Epstein. Can we ask what's going to happen to Barclays Bank and their customers?
Is that a UK bank?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's huge. It's one of the biggest ones over here. Where it originates, I don't know, but it's certainly one of the biggest ones in the UK. I think it's probably global. I'm not sure, actually. I'm a bit hopeless about banks.
That guy's going to be in the tribunals, so he's one of the people going to be tried, and maybe won't even make it.
Yeah.
Interesting, right? And they knew this a long time ago. So things have been put in place a long time ago to help this, like this is just a top guy getting taken out.
Yeah.
This is not going to affect, they're already running on a different system.
Yeah.
It'll just help the system go over smoother, but they're just taking out people at the top. This was planned a long time ago. There's no, nothing to see here, folks. We're just going to usher out your,
It's great though, because it is definitely getting the normies talking when you do things like that, because that's the type of thing that a lot of business people would have heard of and everything. So it's definitely getting their interest. Probably more for the sort of more business things than some of the celebrities would do. You know? So that's quite interesting. It's a bit too close to home for a lot of people, isn't it? Once you start get these top businessmen.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Now I must just give you some feedback. You know, last week we talked about the COP2 conference, environment conference in Scotland. Yep. And we were saying about how on earth do they get away with it, the staff. Did I tell you I've had a couple of people confirm that the staff have been given time off? And so they have got their own special turns in. So it's exactly what you said with the cards.
Yeah.
They're bringing their own teams in.
It's crazy. Yeah. I've actually had lots of really great people were emailing me, not only with that story, but a couple other stories that, a year ago I was talking about. And so that's good. Even amongst all of the trolls that are doing videos, they find the time to do entire videos on other truthers and what scammers they are. And it's like, are you kidding? Focus on getting your truth out.
Exactly.
Instead of tearing into the community. It's like, if that's all you got time to do, and you're not a real truther, as far as I'm concerned.
You're certainly not a real truther, and you're probably sexually frustrated as well, is what I always say.
Or something, yeah. So
very little belief. Yeah, that's what it's always the people that are bitter and twisted. It's like small man syndrome, isn't it? So they've got an inferiority complex. They've got to pick on someone else because they can't cope with someone else being successful.
Yeah, that's about it.
Unbelievable. Must be something about November that brings the trolls out.
Oh yeah, the trolls are heavy, hot and heavy.
We could bring some dragons in to come and eat them.
We'll talk to Ashley. She's got all kinds of dragon energy that
brilliant. Yeah. Oh, I love Ashley. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the new Marvel movie, The Eternals, comes out on the 5th of November, so not on the next day. Now, it's got an interesting cast. It's actually got Angelina Jolie in, who's meant to be a bit dark side, but then her father is coming out saying all sorts of things, supporting Trump and the White Hats now. So that's very odd, that family. But this new Marvel movie, is it going to be a red pill for those that haven't woken up yet?
Oh yeah, that cast, so who knows who they really are, got taken over, and they continued doing the movie, but I feel like, I wonder if they started it and then it got stepped into and the whole thing changed, because now it's been shifted for the better, which is interesting, because so it's going to be a red pillar. I think a lot of Hollywood's been taken over.
Yeah.
And we wonder, then you wonder, so when did they really film those films?
Exactly.
So when did they really film those shots? And then you wonder, who is that really? And how much of it is CGI? And, I watched No Time to Die. I just
went you did? Oh, yeah. What did you think?
My son and I went. Oh, well, it was really choppy, I thought. And I thought it didn't flow. Like, there's too many weird things, like that weird mosquito thing. Like, wasn't it you that said, the little girl in the back seat says,
yes,
turns out to be, well, we won't say. Anyway, so she's talking about mosquitoes.
Yes.
So out of the blue, right in this really high profile car chase, she's talking about mosquitoes and do the mosquitoes have friends? Okay, so like, what? You know what I mean? Like, of course, I think it was you that said maybe that's nano. She was talking about nano or other, maybe. Okay, but it wasn't clear enough. So if they were trying to signal, it's felt rushed.
Yeah,
and things were added that didn't make sense. I couldn't make sense of all the people's connections. I felt like it was tidying up loose ends and just trying to tidy something up. I thought it was the worst plot I've ever seen in my life, but that's just me. And the only thing that saved it was getting to look at Daniel Craig.
Yeah, I think my attention was not so much
Yeah.
on the plot.
Often with his shirt off and stuff. So
Yes.
it's like, okay, I can work with that, but it was absolutely.
Yeah, we did. That's why I had to sit twice, you know, so.
Oh, and the car chases, plane chases, you know, all the chases. Okay,
Yeah.
those are fun. But honestly, the plot was almost impossible to follow. You're
Yeah.
like, something's weird going on. It was like they chopped this out, put this in, added that. It's like, what? Yeah, I was like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah, it's very fascinating, isn't it? So yeah, so but I thought how can we say it without giving it away as people haven't seen it, the main theme of the main weapon in there was very, very telling, particularly when we were talking, I think last week, about the DNA testing and the, you know, all the people that have sent their DNA off. I was like,
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my God, because I've had loads more of the helicopters over me again this week. So
yeah.
No way.
Hot and heavy helicopters. Yeah. One night I was kept up all night with helicopters. Like, what on earth are they doing?
This is what we can't work out. And if loads of people are saying it from different areas, and what are they doing? You know, it is ridiculous.
Like all night long. That's a whole lot of gas they're burning up. Like, what are they doing exactly?
Exactly. We'll set Greta on them.
Yeah. Oh, did you see that little video that I think it was a TikTok where she was dancing and singing?
No.
And I think somebody must have just made it with her face in there.
Yeah.
She was with all the people that were saying there is no.
Oh, really?
Yeah, crises. And they were singing a song to that effect. And she was in there happy as could be singing the song with them. So I was like, that has to be fake. Either that or she, you know, she's joined the good side all of a sudden. It was like, wow.
Yeah, and also she never smiles. I mean, I do want to quite rescue her, like I would do a thing. I do actually feel quite sorry for her. I really do. So hopefully she'll be saved and deprogrammed. So now the funniest thing happened is last week, Mr. O, the ex-president of the United States, was on the Graham Norton show. Now, it wasn't live, he wasn't in the studio, but what was odd is there were quite a few guests that were joining by video link. But he was the only one. I didn't see it, but my friend watched it all and told me. And apparently he was the only one that had an earpiece in. That, you know, when they're getting almost like the James Bond things, and she said it was quite obvious as well, was none of the other guests had an earpiece in. So it was
that's so funny. So an actor who needed to be told what to say.
So can we ask whether that was an actor being told what to say, whether it's another? And what's looking at that some of the pictures of supposedly Joe Biden at the COP conference. I mean, it's ridiculous. They've got pictures of him in a car and they're saying Joe Biden leaving it. It doesn't look anything like the actor that's playing Joe Biden. I mean, it's ludicrous. You might as well have me in the car next door. You know, it looks nothing like him.
They're doing it on purpose. It's just so funny. Yeah, that was all fake.
Yeah.
Whoever that was being paid to be who that was, right? And this card's in the background. So the wise old soul, ancient being, ancient. So somehow off-worlders had something to do with that video call. So I have no idea what they were talking about, but there was some kind of influence from. And sometimes this card will come up, and actually I do a whole reading on this card that I've been getting lately. So this is an entity really helping, or an energy, or even a group of really wise old souls, off-worlders. I haven't got a name for them yet. The universe hasn't told me, probably because it knows I botch up names.
And me too.
You won't bother giving her a name because she won't, right? But this card, I do it today on the video.
Oh, brilliant.
Energy, and I channel, okay, what do they want to say? Who are they? What do they got? So they're an intended energy, and it's coming up again. So somehow, obviously that's a white hat and or alliance one of the, maybe even a brainchild of the alliance who you know, channeled original members and said, you got to save your human race in the next 20 years. You know, what's coming down, and you got to figure this out, and maybe help them start it in the first place.
Fantastic. So I'll have to ask Susie what he actually said, because I didn't watch it, so I don't know how to turn my telly on, but yeah. Oh wow, yeah, that makes sense, definitely. And I saw, if anyone's not on Janine's Twitter, make sure you follow Janine on Twitter, because I saw the video you posted about his birth certificate.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But my God,
like,
you know,
it's like so out there.
Yeah,
it's so out there now. It's like, it's unbelievable. Actually, there's been incredible reveals, reveals. So if anybody's not thinking anything happened in October still, they're sleeping.
Yeah, absolutely.
They missed it, because there's all kinds of stuff been going on.
Yeah, no, that was hysterical. But I was really funny to see how just they were really not having it and were giving the cops such a hard time, weren't they, the detectives? But yeah, it was good. So that's on Janine's Twitter. So I think I retweeted it. So Elon Musk, I mean, he's a bit like Russia, isn't he? Is he good? He's bad. He's good. He's bad. I just can't keep up with you, Elon. Can you just slow down?
That's a good line.
Exactly. But he has pledged $6 billion to the United Nations World Food Programme if it can prove it will end world hunger, because the head of the United Nations World Food Programme, David Beasley, has been campaigning for the world's rich, saying that if they donated between them $6 billion, then it would save 42 million people from dying and cure the world's food problems. So Elon has called his bluff and said, if you can put in this tweet, if you can explain yourself how that 6 billion will be spent and how it will actually save them, then if you can convince me it will, then I'll donate it. I'll sell my Tesla shares and I'll donate it. So I thought that was brilliant. So what's going on with this, Cards?
He's definitely for the good.
Oh,
so we were getting him wavering there, because I think he was programmed as a child. And I'm not making excuses, but I'm saying he might have been, every once in a while they were pulling him back with the program. Anyway, he looks like he's a big yes for getting things better on the planet.
Good.
So he looks really determined. He's very independent. So I don't think he's literally at the meetings of the White Hat Alliance. Okay, but they might keep him in the loop somewhat.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's been known to be compromised, but I feel like he's really on board. Brilliant. Okay, but he's an independent. So he's doing that independently. He's doing that because he has the money and he can do that, and he wants to do good. So his intention is to do good.
Brilliant.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. He's a really unique person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely is. And he does have a lot of contact, and he's influenced by off-worlders, by the way, with that card. 7 of Wands, so really unique beings. I feel like he's really comfortable with, he has a lot of connections all over the galaxy, maybe.
He seems like it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a fascinating guy. Okay, so he knows a lot about how the world really works. So we're going to need him going forward. I hope he's willing to explain it to the rest of us. Okay, 10 and 6. Yeah, he called that guy's bluff. That guy's going to be really hard pressed to explain. Most of the money would have went to people organizing and you know what I mean, the higher ups. So that's always what those things are like. Exactly. They're just to pay the rich, to give them these big cushy jobs. They get to go all over the world, look like they're doing good. It's mostly fake, right? And the actual humans don't get any benefits, or a little bit of benefits, like they get 3% or something.
Yeah, no. So can we, I think exactly that. When I saw that, I thought it was absolutely brilliant, because I thought, yeah, you really have called their bluff, because he will never be able to explain it, obviously, because he was never intending on spending it on the starving. Can we just ask though one more question about Elon Musk? So you know how it's shown that, you know, Mark Zuckerberg isn't who we think we are, Bill Clinton isn't who we think we are, all these people, B.O. The person I was just talking about who was on Graham Norton isn't who we think he is.
Yeah.
So Elon Musk is really fascinating. Actually, I've never looked into his parents or where he's come from, but he does seem very off-worldy, doesn't he? He seems like his best friends would be off-world to me. With his level. Can we ask, is he is his birth stuff genuine, or has he been plonked in an alien egg? Because, you know, I can almost imagine him being an alien that was put into a nest.
Okay, a lot of his true identity is hidden.
Yeah.
So a lot of it could have been faked. He does look as a child like, well, you might have the right idea. It really hits his destiny to be here and do what he's doing. So I feel like he might have been plunked, actually. There is, if you look really closely, one of his parents or a family member, male on the male side, was really dark cult, which explains the programming. Yeah, he was placed, and there's connections to off-worlders, but there's good and bad off-worlders. So we don't know exactly how we got placed here. It's not really telling me. Ace of Cups. I said, was he born on the earth? Yeah, he was. He was physically born here, though, so he's physically earthling, but he might have some connections to off-world, kind of like Mr. T does too, right?
Yeah.
Like distant, because that's looking out in the distance.
Yeah.
So like they placed Mr. T in the family Mr. T got placed in, and there was a whole bunch of reasons for it.
Yeah.
And there was good and bad people on Mr. T's family background.
I need to take a day off because Bryce and some of her friends have done that, including -48 and a couple of the other people that I can't remember their names. They've done the Jesus Strand series. Have you listened to it? They're really long, but I started to listen to one of them and it was just absolutely brilliant. But I need to always take a day off work to actually listen to that, because I really want to listen and concentrate, because it's absolutely amazing information. So I think people can find that on Bryce's channel, Esoteric Atlanta. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's just brilliant. I was just like so enthralled. It was like, oh no, I've got to go to work now. Okay, great. Right, the next question. There's lots of really good interviews going around with brilliant doctors and things, all examining what's in here. And of course, we've known right from the start they're not all the same. But can we ask the cards, is there graphene in there? Graphene oxide?
Interesting. Did you see that video that came out with the psychic reader? I can't remember her name. And Michelle Fielding.
I was just listening to it because that was with David, wasn't it? Our friend David Cohen.
Yeah, he wasn't on that one that I'm
okay about. So I was just listening to him with one of them, but no, I haven't seen it. I because someone sent it to me, but I haven't had a chance to listen. So I was listening to the one on David Cohen's channel. So what did they say in that?
They're going all the way through. They're basically saying there's none of these things are true about what it's doing to people. A lot of it could be psychological. The fear pumped up about it, and that both sides are pulling fear stunts, which partly I would agree with, to be honest. I think there's a lot of exaggeration on both sides. Like they're bringing those videos of kids being born to these people.
Oh yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like it's getting so silly, so sci-fi silly. I mean, maybe some of it's going to turn out to be true, but it's looking pretty shady to me, if you want my opinion. But they're basically saying pretty much nothing's bad's happening, and that a lot of good's going to come of these things eventually. So not to say people that are having problems that's just psychological. I mean, people are losing people shortly after. So I don't know how you explain that one. You know what I'm saying? But they were saying that maybe they had a sole contract to leave all in, you know, and this could even be why Mr. T's been saying, just go ahead and do the thing. Okay. But when I first looked at it, I got a definite don't get this, because there's a small, but a really a chance, and you don't want to play Russian roulette, that you could get a booby trap batch. So I'm going to stick with my version. Their version's a lot more positive in a way, because it's saying none of it's really bad. And it's even going to end up being good. And then there's Cliff High's version, which is right off the charts over the other way. So it's like, I don't know. So where is it? So it looks like, to me, that's been taken out. So if that was the intention, so that's something was changed, ending something. That's my good military. And I said, who? That's Mr. T's card. So white hats, Mr. T and the white hats. Possibly that was stepped back. Remember, he went and talked to all the big companies, Pfizer, Moderna. He went and talked to them, and they probably had the goods on those guys, and said, okay, we know what you're contracted to put in here. Don't put it in, or you're going to be responsible for, you know, genocide, basically, of the human race. So you want to do that? Because we're on to you, so you better not.
I mean, personally, I'd love their bit to be true, but my understanding is more like yours, because certainly I know personally Robert O. Young, who's examined it under the microscope, and he's an expert in that, and he's definitely found some of that in the vials. Also, the people that have died or had terrible problems, they're not the ones who would be fearful, because they genuinely thought it was brilliant and they wanted to take it. Now, if you gave it to me and I had that, it could be that, because I would have a preconceived conception that it wasn't good for me, but they didn't. They were the opposite. They thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, I think they secretly manipulated a lot of it, but maybe not all of it. And either they didn't get around to all of it, or they left some of it so people could, this is a war after all. You need to wake people up. Like, I wouldn't want to say that for sure that they did that, but I mean, maybe they couldn't get to all of it. Maybe some of it was already out there.
Well, also,
but a whole lot of it.
The thing is, I mean, I've worked in a production factory before, and the thing is, you only need a few bad people in there to slip something in there. You really do. So even if they thought they had, the one thing I was going to say though, for that, can we ask the cards though? So if that's the case, and we really hope Michelle and the other lady, I can't remember her name, was right, which would be the best scenario around, why are they still pushing it so hard? Now need my wine now.
I got my morning coffee and you got your wine.
It is dark here, guys. Look, I'm allowed.
Okay, so that's part of the wake up program. Okay, so think about this. Would they put themselves so on the line, governments, world governments, and if it feels like they were told they had to do that by these guys, so they're puppeted. I don't think they would do it to the extent, because they're going to be so liable. When things down on the other side, they're going to be so liable for so much, regardless all the laws they try to change and all the things they try to do. It's against all the human rights what they're doing. Every lawyer you talk to says this is really not cool. You know what I mean? And there's all of these people out there giving advice on how to get around this and get this into court and work this, because the system's set up to protect from things like this, whether these guys like it or not. They couldn't undo it fast enough. They can't undo it fast enough. And if they're trying to undo it based on the sloppy science, it's all going to fail anyway. So down the road, that's why they're pushing it so fast. So the good guys want you to see them doing that, so you know what kind of crooks they are and what they do to get their result. So they're speeding everything up, exaggerating everything, and making them show their whole hand. Normally they would take, 5 or 6 years to do what they're doing.
Do you know what I'd love to do? I might get myself a nurse's outfit and just go along. Wouldn't it be wonderful to line up all these people, whether they're actors or not, and actually see their faces when you say, now I'm really going to give it to you. And then we know, wouldn't we?
It would be so fun.
I would
Instead
so
of like
love to do that. So if anyone, or we just need one of the crisis actors that are played to play the part of the nurse that's giving the false one.
Yeah.
We just need one of them to be a white hat. And just as she's about to inject it into them, she says, this is the real thing.
Yeah.
Let's see the faces. Does that make me quite creepy? I hope that doesn't make me a psychopath, because I am thinking of things like that. It's amazing what happens when you've been in this for a year and a half, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Where your mind goes. But yeah, I've got some plans for them, definitely. I think I'd make a good baddie. The next thing is we've got some poor people. We've got a friend in Scotland who's desperate to go and see their daughter in America, but obviously they're not allowed to fly to America without being this. So when are we going to be able to, I know we hate the when, but just an approximate, a year would even do, you know, are we going to soon be able to travel unrestricted? Say within the next 3 months.
Yes. So that's being worked on as we speak. Okay, so that's the Empress is when everything's like good, luscious, and abundant again. So something about the money system, something about truth coming out first. So some truths are going to come out. Money system's going to change. They want to keep everybody safe. That's why the hold up, they're being incredibly careful. It could have even happened already. Like I thought it was going to happen a really long time ago. Like I said, every single day they're having a look at, they definitely have the numbers now. So for a long time, we were saying they need this certain amount of awake people. They've got the numbers. They got the awake numbers. You just have to look at what's happening in Australia, in Italy, in France, in New Zealand. Even New Zealand might even be waking up now.
Yeah. Well, I know a couple of people there, they are, but they're not hopeful that anyone else is, because they said the general population. I mean, it's like here, it's like over here in the UK. I mean, I don't see any new people waking up. I really don't. I mean, I do wonder what on earth would have to happen to meet them. I mean, the only thing I think would wake the people up over here is if they took over the mainstream media.
Yeah.
I honestly, it's just quite unbelievable. It's like there's no logic whatsoever. It's just like ridiculous. And I'm not even talking about the more extreme things.
The mainstream media, they're still using them.
Yeah.
So they're part of the, so I think they're infiltrated. They were infiltrated quite a while ago. Sometime in the summer is always what I was getting. But I think they're still working them and moving it in. So I guess that's part of the careful, being so careful psychologically, because I think if you just ripped, like we've all wanted them just to rip that Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
To me, that would be brilliant. But my chart's pretty, like I could stand it. Some people could not, like they'd lose it. Like even just thinking about some of my family members, they'd literally lose it. Their whole perception of their entire life would crumble. Like felt swoop, and so they wouldn't be able to come back from that. Like it would devastate too many. So I'm thinking that's part of the careful agenda and why it's taken this long. Even
you've just really made me think of something. Okay, so final question then. Based on that, you've just really triggered something in me. Based on that, assuming that the white hats are overall in control, which we're pretty sure and we hope they are.
Yep.
Would the black hats actually, as one of their last parting shots, might they do the EBS? Because if they want to kill off a huge percentage of the population, they could suddenly take over the EBS and tell them, and a lot of people, it would be too much for them. I mean, you imagine if the black hats got hold of the EBS and did a announcement and saying this was going to kill you.
Well, they wouldn't want their secrets out though. So to explain why would they do that, they might, some of their secrets might have to, I think they're more fearful of secrets coming out. Their biggest fear is their secret. So their biggest, that's going to cause them the most harm, is their secrets. Also, if they started doing that, that could trigger the white hats to get theirs working. And now we got all the other stuff. So even if the black hats